I'm Steve Sanstead with Priority Development, and we're here in a couple of capacities. I have a friend of mine here who is Redmer Strategic Products here in Lansing, and we're some of those networked of small manufacturers that represent that small, medium-sized 1 to 10 million that are looking for ways to export. This company right here is already importing truck-related products from Vietnam, and we're bringing them into Lansing, and we're doing things that way. We're looking now to begin to export. We're focused on Africa. But the small manufacturers are not dead in this state. We're out there, and we're looking at new ways to do it in a variety of different products. And I just want to applaud the state for what you're doing right now all over to recognize the need for small businesses, particularly small manufacturers, to figure out ways to get our durable good products offshore. In this case, we're dealing with heavy truck parts, so there's a lot of cost in the transportation issues to get things like that overseas.
This is a great conference and or a great seminar, and I want to thank Brent Case for all the work that he's done for us to help us realize, you know, the ability to go through Port Lansing and finally bring things in through Port Lansing. It's made it a lot easier for us, and we're really encouraged with what the future holds for us as an exporter. And this is a great forum to be able, for a small business person to be able to learn things like this. We stumbled on the U.S. Commercial Service, quite frankly, by reading an article in a magazine. I had my assistant send in for a booklet called the Business of Exporting 101, and went over to the Commercial Service over in Lansing, over in Grand Rapids at Van Andel Trade Center, and they were very, very helpful. And but if we would have stumbled on that article, we would have known a thing about it. And I've been in a lot of businesses here in Lansing. I've had a number of businesses that we've started up. It's the first I've heard about it. So this is really, really helpful for a small business like ours.
Good. Another question over here, or comment?
Thank you.
While she's going over there, Brookings will be doing a release on a Midwest strategy, and they're working with the Moat Foundation at the University of Toronto, and that's going to be public here in the next couple of weeks. So there's more and more good news coming. The need is to collaborate. The need is to be on the same page. The need is not to see Lansing in competition with Detroit, but the competition with other countries and other regions of the world.
David, can I just add real quick that, you know, the work that Gene's group is doing is really very focused on small and medium-sized business enterprises. So what we're trying to do with export development at the MEDC is exactly target, you know, your types of companies and educate and spread that message. So.
And Randy didn't mention that he's in the pipeline for step one.
Okay, great.
Good afternoon. I'm Marcia Mado with the MSU Land Policy Institute, specifically with Creating Entrepreneurial Communities program. And I'm very excited about what I've heard here today. And you've talked about maritime, you've talked about rail, roads, in the infrastructure. But I haven't heard you address the issue of broadband. And you know, we have very much a rural state. And we have small, medium-sized entrepreneurs that are geared to export, but maybe in these rural communities without access to high-speed broadband. How are you addressing that in your equation?
Can I say something about that?
Go ahead, Jim.
If I could say something, I don't know if this thing is something about that. Our province is about the size of the Upper Peninsula. Okay, 20,000 square miles. We got 1 million people. Half of them are in the major city. About 5 years ago, the government of the province decided that broadband was equivalent to the rural electrification programs of the 20s, and they now have broadband to everybody. There's the odd person that lives back up in the hills in North Mountain by the Bay of Fundy who doesn't have broadband, but everybody else has access now. And it was a 5-year program, and they just built it out in cooperation with the private sector. So it got started, and now the real trick is, once small businesses have got broadband, how to teach them to use it properly. So it can be done, but it really has changed our rural areas.
And I'll add that there is quite a few initiatives occurring through the state to promote broadband, and that is a big key part of our future infrastructure development. It's not just roads and bridges. Department of Technology and Management and Budget is leading that effort. I know there was significant dollars available in our state through some of the federal government programs, and I think those are targeted to certain areas, and I don't know all the specifics about that. But it is a big issue, and I think people just think this is an issue in the Upper Peninsula in Northeast Michigan, but I was at a legislative forum in Washtenaw County, who you think, oh, Ann Arbor, and there's significant challenges even in the rural parts of that county for broadband. So this is a big issue. It is something the state's working on, but we still have a lot of work to do in that area.
Sure.
Just quickly, thank you, David, and everyone for the program. That's great. My
Introduce yourself,
name is
please.
Chris Webb, and I'm with the Engineering Society of Detroit Institute, a director there. We have done a number of symposia that have been based on the National Academy of Sciences, and we brought together stakeholders to consider all these items. President Obama, in his State of the Union address, said manufacturing is critical for America, and I think it's critical for Michigan. We're planning a symposium later this year where we're bringing in the UAW and others, all the stakeholders, to try to bring a new start over. And one of the ideas we'd like, still going, one of the ideas that we'd like to offer is an idea of an authority. I believe we've come of a time now where we should consider an export authority that can bring together certain sovereign benefits to unify the small business, align the arrows, if you will, for all different businesses, including the manufacturing needed for the export. We'd like to throw that on the table, keep that discussion going, and consider the business plan we will need to be able to become the export house that we need to be in Michigan with the facilitation from the candidates.
Thanks, Rich.